Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Vanessa, and this is my first video. So I'm going to be talking about my free birth. Okay, let's try that again. So I'm going to be talking about my free birth that I had at home, unassisted, wild, completely raw, completely free. I didn't even have any prenatal care. I did my own, so I didn't go find a doctor or OBGYN or anything. So I got pregnant last year in July, and I knew right away that I was going to be pregnant. I was tracking my fertility. I took a test at home and it came out positive. I started going into labor 37 weeks, which is kind of early. I went into spontaneous labor with my second daughter, and she came around 42 weeks and a few days. So I was under the impression that I was going to be that far along with my third baby, but definitely not. Friday morning, early in the morning, I woke up because I started having consistent contractions. And for the last few months before this, I had already had Braxton Hicks, and I knew that my body was preparing for labor. And I went to the bathroom, and whenever I wiped, I had a little bit of my mucus plug on the toilet paper, so it was a little bit reddish brown. So Friday night, I ended up not sleeping at all. I kept having contractions, probably 10-15 minutes apart, and they weren't too bad. They were easy to breathe through, and I was still able to do a lot of my day-to-day stuff. And my husband had already gone to work. I didn't tell him because I didn't want him to freak out. I knew my labor would be long. My last labor was over 30 hours, so I figured I'd still be in labor by the time he got back from work, and that was the case. So I just went on about my day with my kids, made food, cleaned. I was nesting pretty hard. I wouldn't sit down. I couldn't. I was moving all day, and I know that you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to get rest when you're in labor, because when it's showtime, I mean, you need all the energy you can get. So I kind of regret it because I was super exhausted by the time the baby was born, but at the same time, I got a lot of stuff done that would help with my postpartum recovery. So I don't really regret it. So anyways, my husband got home from work, and I let him know that I was in labor. We didn't do anything different. We still went on about our afternoon and our evening as we always did. We hung out with the kids. We watched movies, and then whenever it was bedtime, I put the girls to sleep, and that was around 8:30. And then I went in my room, and I put a mattress down on the floor. I put puppy pads on the bed, on the floor, in the bathroom, like right by the toilet, right by the sink. I knew that I was going to want to just move around and be free to sit here, sit there, lay there, just whatever I wanted. Put on my robe, and I started to just pace back and forth. The contractions were getting heavy, they were getting stronger. And then midnight came, still nothing. My husband woke up, and he came in the room, and he looked around, and he saw the mattress on the floor and the puppy pads. And he was like, "Oh, is it time?" And I'm like, "I think so. I hope so. Like, I want to get this done and over with." 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock hit, nothing. My husband stayed up all night with me, and I was just pacing back and forth, in and out of the bathroom, in the bedroom, just waiting. And we were hoping that the baby would come sometime in the night, so that, you know, whenever the girls woke up, they could just wake up to a baby, and then I'm done. But no, that did not happen. Morning came, and the girls woke up, and my husband tended to them, and he made them breakfast. He put on movies for them. And I had prepped my girls for this beforehand. I explained to them that the baby was gonna come out soon and that I'd be in the room. They might hear crazy noises, crazy screams from me, but to not be worried. So they kind of got it. They were worried and they kept wanting to come into the room. But I didn't want them coming in because I knew they would be scared, and I just wanted to be able to focus on labor and all my contractions instead of having to focus on making my kids feel better. So yeah, they weren't allowed in, and I labored all morning and still nothing. Around 12 o'clock, he just saw me in pain and he wanted to do something. So he ran the bath water for me and I got in, and oh my gosh, like instant relief, 100%. I mean, I don't know what it is about warm water, but I completely relaxed. My contractions stopped. And I even fell asleep in the tub like multiple times. I felt so good in there and I was so tired and exhausted. Like woke up to the water just like coming over my mouth. I thought, you know what, I think I need to get out because I could stay in here all day and it seems like nothing's progressing at this point. And as soon as I got up to get out of the tub, sorry, that's my baby. A contraction hit me really hard. And labor just started instantly when I got out of that tub. And I thought, okay, so by now we should be seeing a baby soon. And then like another hour passed, having a strong contraction, and I heard a pop. And I just felt liquid come down, and I looked down and there's like a little bit of blood, a little bit of like amniotic fluid. Being able to see visually things are progressing, it's like such a relief because you really get stuck in your mind that nothing's happening and something's wrong, and you start to go to that place that you don't want to go to whenever you're in labor. My husband ran me another bath and I got in again, and it was so warm, and labor stopped again, or at least I think it stopped because I wasn't having any contractions. I was completely relaxed. I fell asleep again in there. And that's how desperate my body was for relief. I instantly would fall asleep without it even knowing it. So anyways, I was in there for like another hour, and my husband would come in and out to check up on me and check on the girls. He was just back and forth, you know, being a huge help, bringing me anything I needed. I tried my best to stay hydrated, to eat for energy. So he made me orange juice. He brought me like some chicken sausages, dates, because dates are great for labor. I tried my best to keep it down, but some of the contractions were really intense and I ended up throwing up, which it's a variation of normal if you're throwing up in labor. And it had happened to me with both, so I wasn't surprised. I ended up getting the shakes. I was pretty cold. I think around 2 o'clock, I came in my room and I was bent over the rocking chair. And I had a really strong one, and my husband was there, and we heard another pop and like a lot more liquid coming out. And then I just started to feel a very intense pressure. And so I knew she was coming, and I started to doubt myself. When you're in transition, when that baby is on its way, you start to doubt yourself. You start to say stuff like, I can't do it. This isn't happening. There's no way. And I started to talk like that. And I told my husband beforehand, when I start to talk like that, don't let me. Keep encouraging me. You really believe in your mind that it's impossible and that there's no way that the baby is gonna come out of there. I mean, the math isn't mathing. You're like, there's no way. My body started pushing and I felt the pressure of the big baby coming down the vaginal canal. Feel the ring of fire, which, as many of you have probably heard, the ring of fire is the most painful part of the process. And my husband was back there looking, and he was like, I see something, like I think I see a head, and I'm like, yeah, I feel it. Like he didn't even have to say it. I knew exactly what was going on. Her head was coming out. It was burning. Okay. And I'm like screaming my head off because that's just me. That's how I am during labor. I'm really dramatic. So I'm like screaming, and then the ring of fire happens, like, and I just feel her head coming out, and I hear my husband saying, I see her eyes, her nose is almost out. And then I finally felt relief. My vagina had popped her head out, right, and it was around her neck. And I told my husband, I'm like trying to catch my breath, I'm seeing stars. I'm like, okay, so this is where my body relaxes, hopefully for a few minutes, and then the body's gonna shoot right out. And I'm like so tired, and as soon as I finished saying that, I felt a huge contraction come, and I'm like, my body just pushed. I mean, I'm on all fours and I'm just pushing, and the body shoots right out. I mean, fetal ejection reflex definitely kicked in. I hear it crying instantly, and I'm like seeing stars. I'm dizzy. I'm coming back to Earth, because you go somewhere. I don't know where you go, okay? You leave planet Earth and you're like somewhere flying in the galaxy, and you're like looking for your baby, and then finally when it happens, you like come back down to Earth. And that's what was happening to me. And I heard my husband talking / crying. I don't really remember what he was saying. He did catch her, and I knew he would. He was back there ready for it. So I really wanted to just catch my breath, like take a second. I mean, I just did one of the craziest things you could ever do. She still has the umbilical cord, and the placenta is still inside me. So he like puts her underneath me, like between my legs, and brings her up to me. And I'm like, I look down and I'm like, oh my gosh, a baby. And she's like gray. She's crying and screaming her head off. And she's like quickly turning pink. And I grabbed her, and she was warm and completely wet and slippery from all the fluids. And I'm like, wow. And I started crying. I looked at my husband, and he's already crying. And it was the most beautiful moment. It was just amazing to just see ourselves over that mountain. He helps me up, and I walk to the bed, and he gets us a blanket, and he cleans up everything, and he lets the girls in so they can meet their baby sister. And I'm feeding her, calming her down, and she starts drinking milk. And my girls are just amazed, and they're asking a bazillion questions. And I start to have an intense contraction. And I know that it's the placenta, but they were so intense that I almost started to wonder if I was having another baby. I mean, I never had an ultrasound done, nothing. I almost forgot. So yeah, we don't even know what we were having, right? Because I never had an ultrasound. I checked whenever the baby came out, and I grabbed her. I was like, what do you know what we have? I looked at my husband. I'm like, do you know what we have? He's like, I didn't even look. So I looked, and I was shocked to see another girl, because we've got 2 other girls. And I mean, we were just praying for a healthy baby, but I had dreams that I was going to have a boy. And so in my mind, I was going to have a boy. And so when I saw her, I was shocked. I was pretty shocked. I got another contraction, and I told my husband, get the girls out, because I don't know what's about to happen, even though I knew. But I don't know, when you're in it and you're doing it, you're like, you forget everything you've learned, everything you've seen, it just goes out the window. So he got the girls out, and I had a really intense contraction, and I like felt my stomach, and it was hard. And I looked at him, and I was like, we're not having twins. I was so scared. I mean, I wanted to cry almost. And he's like, it's the placenta, isn't it? You know, because I've had millions of these conversations with him, and shown him all the videos, and shown him all the podcasts. And I'm like, I don't know, like, and I just start screaming, and I had a hard contraction, and then plop, came out my placenta right on the bed. I picked it up and I put it in a bowl. She was born on March 9th, Saturday at 2:07 p.m. That's her gagging over there. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'll try to make a video of postpartum recovery. That is super important. I'd love to make a video like that. I know it's really hard for women these days with postpartum. I mean, they just don't know what's going on. They don't know how to navigate it. So I'll make a video on how to prepare for that. I'll make a video on how I prepared for my free birth. I'm just gonna make a lot of videos regarding birth, pregnancy, all that stuff. I love all that stuff. I'm super passionate about that stuff. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed my video, and we'll see you in the next one.